Weddings. They're supposed to be the best day of a couple's lives together. There are dozens of vendors that all come together to make the day magical, from florists to photographers, caterers to outfitters. In theory, this is a lucrative industry with a lot of money to be made. But of course, as we know, 2020 happened. More weddings than probably ever before were canceled or seriously impacted. No more dancing, no more hugging, and for some, no wedding at all. On today's episode of my brand new series, I'll be speaking with an expert from the wedding industry, sharing some industry insights and best practices, and even giving you some content ideas for your wedding-focused business or client. Let's go. The wedding industry has a market size of $73 billion here in the United States. And in 2021, the market is expected to grow by about 33%. Likely due to a ton of rescheduled weddings from good old 2020. The industry consists of florists, photographers, wedding venues, caterers, hotels, hair and makeup artists, gowns and tuxes, just to name a few. In 2021, the average cost of a US wedding was between $29,000 and $31,000, not including the honeymoon. So it's safe to say that there is a lot of money in this industry, and hey, it takes a village to bring the whole thing together. So what does this mean for social media managers? Well, it means there's a lot of opportunity. Each of those business types that I just mentioned could easily choose to hire someone to manage and grow their social presence, and I personally think this industry would be pretty cool and fun to get creative in. So wedding industry pros in general are a mix of small and medium-sized businesses. So with that said, your client could either be an established, larger business or a small mom and pop shop. If you're working with a small business, let's say it's a 2-person local floral shop. You'll likely be pitching to, communicating with, and ultimately delivering content and reporting to the owner. You'll also likely be in charge of the whole marketing process from concept to execution. Now, if you've been hired to, let's say, create a TikTok campaign for a national bridal gown shop with thousands of employees and locations, you'll probably be in close contact with a marketing manager, director of marketing, or CMO. Likely, a business that large would have existing standards for graphic design and branding, and might even have different teams for things like paid social or photography. At the end of the day, folks in the wedding industry need to reach couples who are looking for vendors for their weddings, wedding planners and venues who may be helping their clients shop for vendors, and maybe even other vendors who may be interested in collaborations or referral opportunities. Obviously, the most important people on that list are the couples. Couples are tied directly to bookings, aka money. So it's important that wedding pros are really making couples the hero of the story. Traditionally, the key person involved in finding vendors has been the bride, but as societal norms change, we are seeing different roles emerge in the wedding planning process. And I can say from personal experience that my male partner and I have been pretty 50-50 on this. And I think that this is actually a huge gap in the marketing of weddings. I honestly get kind of irritated when I open an email that says, "Hey bride," assuming that all of the labor should be put on the woman, or that the women don't care about the men's opinions on weddings, not to mention all of the same-sex weddings and couples that are out there. So that's just something to consider. So during normal times, peak wedding season runs from late spring to early fall. This means that your client, the vendor, will usually be working every weekend during that time if they're fully booked. So for social media managers, the off season is a great time for you to do outreach, make introductions, and start lead generation campaigns aimed at them. For vendors themselves, this is a great time to look for a social media manager, or if you're handling your own social, start developing content and getting out there in front of your ideal clients. The goal for wedding industry pros is to get social media lurkers into their customer relationship manager. As you all probably know, I love HoneyBook, and wedding pros can easily set up scheduling links or forms on their websites that social media managers can then link over to. You'll need to draw brides and grooms in by posting engaging content and then use your caption to direct them to those links, or even to your DMs if that's your preferred workflow. But don't just take my word for it. I called in wedding industry and social media expert Nina Adio from I Do Wedding Marketing to share some of her tricks of the trade. Here are some 2021 specific challenges you may want to be aware of. So what you do specifically is your business, I mean, it's all in the name, really. I do wedding marketing. So you help different wedding industry professionals market primarily on social media, right?
Correct. The most popular is, of course, Facebook and Instagram, but also we do LinkedIn, Pinterest, wherever the client is looking to target.
So 2020 and 2021 have been not great years for people for anyone really, but particularly people in events, weddings, anything like that. So can you talk a little bit about any like general themes of challenges that you or your clients have kind of had to work through?
So initially it was just a feeling of how do we communicate with our audience now? Our couples aren't coming in door to door. And when this happened, not everybody was set up right away to be working at home. Some of my clients couldn't even be taking phone calls the same way. It was just such an overnight shift. And if we did not have these digital setups in place, it would have been really scary. But luckily, we had an email list set up. We had the Instagrams, we had the Facebook, and we learned that we had to rely on that more. And now every message was coming through digital communication instead of selling in person. So while I really prepared myself for business to change, and now I have all these jobs, because I was trying to, be prepared for the worst, it turned out that more clients were coming because they realized our only message is digital. And so we need to have this set up and in place.
The good news is there's no shortage of content for most wedding industry pros. Weddings are probably the most photographed events ever, so your client, or again you, if you're managing your own social, you should have access to plenty of high quality images from past events. So here's tip number 1 though. Be sure to give credit. Wedding photographers are very particular about being credited for their work, rightfully so. Be sure to get permission and tag the photographer as well as any other vendors that you have access to. Not only does this keep you on their good side, but it also expands your network and social reach. If you tag the photog or the venue, who knows, maybe they'll share it to their story or feed, and if they have a larger following, this can be really helpful for your account. Tip number 2, have a localized approach to your marketing. Event marketing of any kind is highly localized, since they're all in person. Before 2020, that is. Sure, some couples are doing Zoom weddings nowadays, but the bulk of these events are still happening in person on location. So if you're a Michigan bridal gown shop, you really don't need to worry about people in other states following you. Sure, people from neighboring states might want to visit someday, and of course, being featured in a national bridal publication could be nice, but the bulk of your actual business is going to come from Michigan brides. So hashtag research is going to be huge here. Just remember to localize as much of it as you can. So turn hashtag weddings into hashtag Michigan weddings, hashtag bride into hashtag Michigan bride, and so on. Also, this is a good use case for Facebook ads. Putting a little bit of budget behind your Facebook or Instagram posts can help ensure that you're targeting people only within a certain geolocation. That means no wasting precious ad spend on people halfway across the country that have no intention of ever visiting you in person. So can you kind of walk us through like what your plan of attack is when you sign on a new client?
The first thing I really want to do is get a feel for the venues. That's always a good place to start, and asking a client, what are your dream venues to work at? Do you currently have venues you're affiliated with? Do you have any other vendors that you recommend? Just so this way I know their inner circle that is already there. So once I get their target area, from there, I'll see where are the local restaurants people are hanging out with. I'll even do like a TripAdvisor search for like the top 10 most romantic restaurants in an area. And it works, because then you will see engagement posts at those restaurants. And then that's where you're going to want to hang out and engage. And then from there, I'm also keeping track of what hashtags am I seeing coming up a lot for the area. I know in your area, I thought Michigrammars was like the greatest pun in the world. I thought that was so great. Seeing what are the local coffee shops, seeing what are the vineyards people hang out with. Lots of bachelorette parties love vineyards. So that's another thing I love looking at too. So using the resources that are online. I mean, this could also be using the Knot and seeing all the other listings, because you don't just, the big part is obviously marketing to the couples. That's the goal, to get more bookings, but also creating that relationship with the other vendors, because that's a huge referral source for many wedding professionals.
And tip number 3, be fun and engaging. Many people look at their wedding day as the best, most anticipated day of their lives. So if you're writing copy or creating content for this industry, you really need to share that same level of excitement. And brides and grooms have been through a whole lot over this past year or so, so their energy levels and motivation is at an all-time low. I say that from experience personally. So have fun, be lighthearted, create content that brings smiles or happy tears to people's faces. A few other quick and easy content ideas for the wedding industry. You can highlight positive reviews that you've received from past couples. Use Canva to make cute graphics, or use the caption space on Instagram to paste them in there. You can showcase your industry expertise by posting out-of-the-box wedding ideas, like this one that my own wedding planner shared. It was a cool brochure for out-of-town guests. I loved it. You can share how-to guides and video series. I know when I got engaged, I was clueless and had little help. So anything that you can do to make things easier for your couples, I promise they will thank you endlessly. Shout outs. Share the love and shout out complimentary, not competing, vendors in your area. And of course, your why. Get deep, share your story. Why did you get into this industry, and why are your clients going to be in good hands with you? For something as personal as a wedding day, couples really want to make sure that you're looking at them as more than just a dollar sign. I'll also note from experience that picture perfect, it makes me sad right now. Our wedding has been downsized from a beautiful fairy tale in a historic mansion to a small intimate dinner. And that's okay, I'm more than fine with it. But seeing glitz and glam actually isn't what a lot of people want right now. So maybe let's say you're a florist. Well, instead of showcasing an ornate, detailed, expensive floral centerpiece you did, you share easy DIYs that work well with your stems. Or if you're a gown shop, showcase your elopement-ready, straight-off-the-rack pieces a little bit more often. Venues can get creative and share their micro-wedding packages. You get the point. So, if you're feeling inspired and ready to take on this industry, or take your own venue, floral shop, or cake decoration business to the next level, you're probably wondering, where the heck do I start? Well, as Nina mentions in the full interview that I did with her over on the podcast, I'll link that down below, you've got to immerse yourself in the industry. Wedding Wire has a fantastic forum as well as a vendor directory. The Knot has lots of wedding planning inspiration and recommendations. The Rising Tide Society's Tuesdays Together group is chock full of wedding industry pros as well as other creative entrepreneurs. The social media management toolbox will help you put together social media response guides, onboarding documents, social plans, and much more. And lastly, Nina has something that is sure to get you on the right track. So I know that you recently developed a digital product. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, so it's a 30-day posting guide. It's specific for wedding professionals. And what it gives you is 30 photos or graphics that I've created, 30 captions, as well as the reasons why we're using this caption and this topic and what you could add to it, or you could keep it as it is. And then each of those graphics has a link where you could edit it if you wanted through Canva. So it's really training you through these 30 posts to either take them as they are and just post it if you want to go autopilot, or it's training you to see, okay, this is why she's posting this. This is why she's using these terms. And I can change this to reflect my brand and my colors or add my logo, etc. So it's $7.99 and it offers 30 really targeted and specific posts. And I tried to keep in mind all the elements of the industry. So this way you can just start showing up slowly but surely. If you can't post every day, like I said before, post once a week. That's enough to let your audience know that you're around.
All right, so that's it for today's episode of Social Media Marketing 4. If you have an industry you'd like me to dive into for next time, let me know in the comments below. And as always, be sure to tap the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this. I will leave links down below where you can find both Nina and myself elsewhere on the web. And I thank you as always for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.